We ice skated, and we could swim out. Dad let us swim out to this big rock. And that was your test. If you could swim to the big rock, which is in the cove, and probably 500 feet, you could swim anywhere because it was fresh water. It was much harder to swim in.
Yeah.
I am the oldest resident of Wiggity-Quack, bred and born here.
Yeah. So when were you born?
March 13th, 1932.
Great. Yeah. So you grew up on Farm Home Road.
Farm Home Road, and I am the 6th of 13 children. And we just were so molded. We didn't need friends to come and play with us. We did everything together as it was. Mother used to make us lunch, royal lunch crackers with peanut butter. Put them back in the box, and we would head up to further up Farm Home Road, and we owned property up there that had a brook.
Mm-hmm.
And we a few times tried to drink out of the brook and fall in the brook, and we picked weeds out of the brook, we thought, and it was corn slips. I think it's corn slips.
Lady slippers. I think we used to walk up there with Ludy with her dog, and we would go down the brook.
And God help you if you picked a lady slipper.
Yeah.
My father, I picked one once. I just thought it was pretty.
Yeah. And I heard there were Indians up there, or remnants of Indians. Is that you used to go find the Indians? That's what my mom said.
Well, my father told me once, and I'm not sure if it's true or not. He told me there was an Indian cave up there in this big rock. I looked and I looked and I looked. I have never found it. So I'm not sure if it is a true story or if he just wanted to scare us.
Keep you out of the brook. Yeah. So your father's name was?
James Leo.
And your mother?
Catherine Frazier. That was her mother's maiden name.
So you grew up on Farm Home Road.
They both grew up in Wiggity-Quack.
Yep.
Mother grew up and went to the schoolhouse down here at the corner of Mary Hall. They have since made that into a 2-story house.
Oh. And your dad went to school at, he went to school in Pawcatuck and went to Stonington High School? Yeah.
I think the high school was in the borough. I'm not sure, but that's the only old high school I knew that was in the area. And today it's, I think they made it into apartments or something.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So we were just talking a little bit ago about delivering newspapers. So everybody in your family had a job. There were so many of you, and you were on a farm.
And my sister Tessie and I started. It was the Westerly Sun, and it was 25 cents a week, and we walked at least 3 miles every day, rain, sleet, or snow, to deliver our papers. And we knew everybody. Sometimes we knocked on the door to say hello.
Who were some of the people, the neighbors that you delivered papers to?
Well, Helen Allen, Mrs. Button, Mr. Morrissey, and he was a dear friend of ours. He taught us how to square dance. And Mr. King. I can go right along the whole route. Then there were some cabins down there that Matheson owned. I keep thinking there were some gas pumps in front of that Matheson cabins.
So this is down Route 1 toward the borough?
Yes, and it is still there. They've made it into a motel,
Oh, yeah.
but it's still there. And then you take another little loop and you get to the Buzzy place where they sold stones. If you were small, he called you, no, if you were big, he called you Skunjot. And if you were small, he called you Fichin. Well, I'm awfully close, but probably not perfect. And then across the street was Carl Mitchell. And he had a gas station. And he had penny candy. So we used to go and slide the glass thing, and get our candy. And my father would be down there because there was a few men in Wiggity Quack that would meet down there about 4 o'clock in the afternoon. And they were all his friends. And he used to say to us, don't hang around, just go, get your candy and go, you know. But Wiggity Quack, you knew, everybody knew everybody. It was a very friendly place. They had an old schoolhouse, which has since been destroyed. But they had an old schoolhouse, and that was our meeting house.
Is that the community house that was the end of Farm Home Road?
Right. But it was originated as a schoolhouse. Many people went to school there. And that was really enjoyable because Jim Morrissey, the neighbor, he taught us to square dance. And my sister Peggy had 4-H. And it just continued on, the same thing. And the women, they did suppers and cooked down there for special occasions. And it only had the benches inside. And we had some kind of a silly bunch of chairs that we could sit in. But nothing fancy.
No.
But that was nice.
So you had the community house, and then there was Wiggity Quack Cove.
Oh, brother.
So you swam in the cove?
Wiggity Quack Cove is where we all learned to swim. It's a trolley track. So it had steps, they're still there, to get onto the trolley, and it crossed over the cove and came out here on Greenhaven, and then it is in the back of, it followed Greenhaven to Lower Pawcatuck, and it was a trolley.
So what other kinds of things did you do growing up? You went to St. Michael's School?
Loved the parochial school.
Yeah.
Loved it. During the war, I remember we had a nun, and I believe she came from Belgium, and we had to pray every day for her family. Then one time, the World War II,
Yeah.
yes, there were some of the children's brothers or sisters or somebody went there. I think they had the wax thing. Did they? Anyhow, they had to go to war, so we used to pray for them.
Yeah. And how did you get to St. Michael's School, all the way from Wiggity Quack?
The bus, the Stonington bus, would take us as far as West Broad Street School. But they wouldn't take us to St. Michael's. So we had to walk from West Broad to St. Michael's. They had a kindergarten there at St. Michael's. And my brother Jimmy, I used to have to walk. I could get out of at lunchtime. I would get out of school a little earlier so I could walk him at noontime down to West Broad to get the bus.
Okay.